Sorry, I have sort of the millennial pause whenever videos record, especially because I'm used to editing, and as of right now, I really have no internet in my house. I'm not able to really edit long form videos. But something I've noticed and something I was taught is that the enemy will attack you either right before or right after your biggest victory. And I actually have a lot of more recent stories where I did not respond the best way, so hopefully you can learn from me. But let's start off somewhere a little more biblical. When I was talking with my dad one day, who was a very learned man in the Bible, let me just say, he told me basically that it's like the enemy will always come after you either before or right after a great attack, when you are at the hubris of your pride, basically, where it's the easiest to forget God. Most of the time, it is going to be right after something great happens. In fact, if it's not 90% of the time, it might have a little off. It might be always after a great victory, which makes much more sense than before. So bear with me. And so I was like, okay, what's your example in the Bible? Because, my dad's learned, and you should be asking questions if someone's speaking biblically. What's your example? And my dad was like, okay, so when Jesus went in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights and was tempted and didn't eat and all that. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how does this relate? He's like, what happened right before? I'm like, he was baptized by John, right? His cousin. And my dad's like, yes. That is also the first time that he was shown to all the people that Jesus was the Son of God in his lifetime. So at least Jesus is 30 years old. He knows that he's the Son of God, but this is the first time in a crowded way that the Spirit descended upon him like a dove and said, this is my Son whom I love, in front of people. Because we don't know what happened if God did that on one-on-one Jesus, because we weren't there and it's not written, and we're prideful to assume so. And I'm like, wow, well, and you're like, okay, well, that's not some great victory. Well, let's imagine it a little bit more like this. Also, I'm making dinner. This is fish. It's not just weird liquid. It's salmon that I put in something to get some flavors in. I'm also making some rice and some green beans. Not that you'll see all of that because I'm not going to be recording for that long, and I'm not going to make you guys wait. But good grief, I gotta hold you in suspense, apparently. Can you imagine all of your life, you knew who you were. You knew that you were important, that you were this great thing, that your mama said, I know who you are, and your daddy said in a dream, I know you're important. Your mama says this, right? Which, now that I think about it, it's kind of like a sort of antithesis of what happened for Adam and Eve, where God told Adam, don't eat from the tree, and then Adam told Eve, you cannot eat from the tree, but it's never explicit that God told her specifically. Just a thought, not anything extra biblical or even perhaps right, because I don't know. I haven't read the about Joseph and Mary recently. Okay, right? And so all your life you grow up and you have these miracles going on around you because you're the Son of God. And realistically things would happen because Mary wouldn't look at her son for his first miracle and go, you can make this water into wine without, something happen. But I'm not going to assume, I'm just basing that off of things that happen in the Bible. Because there's a difference between assuming and then using context clues. I regress from that comment. But all your life, you were told, you're important, you're loved, you're all this, but all your life you're also a carpenter's son. So everyone assumes you're going to be a carpenter, because Jesus learned how to be a carpenter. He was a carpenter. He had the strong hands to do so and all these things. And so all of his life, for 30 years to this point, he was told that he was going to be important. He knew he was important, but nobody else really knew except for his family. The people around him the most. People could have believed him. He went to synagogues and they said this child knew God and also knew him very well and taught as well as teachers. But nobody knew that Jesus was the Son of God. And so to finally be able to stand in front of a crowd and have Father God, your heavenly Father, the part of yourself, the creator of the heavens and the earth, and say, listen to him, you great look at this is my son whom I love. Is that not one of the most gratifying things to hear? And so you're like, okay, Kitra. That's my name, by the way. I don't think I introduced myself. My name's Kitra. It's like, okay, girl. You're saying all this. What's the point? I'm gonna make you wait while I put fish on the thing. You put it skin down whenever you're putting it in the oven, not on the oven, because all the fats need to go down into the, from the skin into the flesh itself. So, but if you're doing it stovetop, like on the oven, then you do it flesh side up, skin down, because the fat will just go better around. I don't know why it just does. Oh, because it's still gotta go down. Well, no, it's gotta be flipped. I don't remember why. Sorry. My dad's a learned cook, like studied. So anything he tells me to do, I try to do it at the very least. How does this relate? Right, let's do the whole wraparound. 40 days, 40 nights, Jesus didn't eat or drink, I believe. I know for a fact he fasted. 40 days, 40 nights, he was alone. 40 days, 40 nights. That's a little bit over a month. So can you imagine through an entire month of, well, this is being filmed in August, being alone in the desert without anything to eat or drink? Your flesh is going to be a screaming. You are hungry and you are thirsty. And then, towards the end of this time, the devil himself appears to you and says, I will give you these things, and tempts Jesus. Now, the temptations, I think, are real interesting because, on a Kitra side note, in order for Jesus to be tempted, they had to be things he wanted. And one of the most notable things, which makes sense, because again, well, not again, something important I feel like people need to know, like there's a reason my heart is saying this, being tempted isn't sin. If you're looking at a baby like, ooh, I want that, but I'm gonna, the stone, I haven't bought it yet, I want to eat it. It's not tempting. You're not evil for being tempted to steal and eat food. Your sin is whenever you take the bagel and eat it anyway, even though you didn't buy it. That's the sin. But if you're tempted to take the bagel without paying for it, that doesn't mean you did it because you didn't do it. Sin is in the act. Right? That's really important. And so Jesus was tempted. So one of the things that I think is really interesting is whenever Jesus was on the mountaintop looking over the world, Satan said, if you bow to me, I will give you all of this. Which means, by connotation, that the temptation, because the devil doesn't tempt you with things that you don't want, is that Jesus wants to take care of the world. He wants to be ruling, which isn't evil to want to be in charge, especially Jesus, because he is the end-all be-all peaceful person. If you look at amongst the people and you say, I want to take care of these people, I want to love these people, I want them to know that they've never faced a day of harm or anything, because I'm going to take care of them, to rule them, because under my rule, I know I can provide for them. That's not evil. Because power is not inherently evil. It's what you should decide to do with that power and where you want this power to come from. Because if it's the power to hurt people, or to say, I just want to have power so nobody else has power over me again, you need to check your heart. But knowing that Jesus was perfect, and that he knows his future, and we all know his future if you read Revelations, he will be the king of the earth. He will rule the New Jerusalem. He will take care of all the earth. All the heavens, all the earth, you know? It makes sense that that was so easy of a temptation for him. And so, let's do a wrap around back to Kitra here. It's not all about Kitra, but I want to use more of an example other than, you know, Satan himself coming to stand before you and being like, I will give you the world if you bow to me. And Jesus going, no, the word says this, right? For those of you who don't know, my family and I have been going through a really rough time, let me just say. We've got no internet, which I mentioned. The only way I'm uploading is whenever I go to a free gym that we happen to have in the neighborhood, thank God. And then I upload from there on my phone. But for a couple weeks ago, some of my videos would talk about it. We didn't have food or money for food. We had food in the house, but my sister and I were very hungry. And most of it, all of our appliances are broken in some sense. We're in fear of losing, well, not fear, because I trust God, but we could lose power any day. We could lose water any day. We're at a point where things are, right? But God's taking care of us, and literally everything, right? I feel like a really good example because I was thinking about this the other day, and this kind of joy settles in my heart once I realized, years ago, the washer and dryer broke, right? You're like, okay, girl, you weren't clean clothes, or you were hand washing it. I could, but no, I'm not, because the washer broke completely, but the the dryer broke completely. I'm not able to dry clothes for zippity, but the washer broke only that it makes the clothes too wet, but it puts soap and cleans it. And so God, in His grace and mercy, these things are broken. We can't afford to fix it, but we can still dry clothes because now we have a way to hang clothes outside and in the sun. And so though we have to wait for 2 days, we still have a way to dry clothes. And in His mercy and love and compassion for me and my sister, because my dad's ill and not able to really get on med right now, so we're doing all the house stuff. Now my sister and I don't have to sit and scrub dirty clothes for hours on end because God, in His mercy and love, despite these things breaking, provided a way. Here's another example, right? Dishwasher broke years before the washer and dryer did, but we can hand wash things, right? This is wonderful. This is great. We can hand wash our stuff, our dishes. But a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, excuse me, let me try to put little things in a little more preference. The what's it called? This side of the sink, the farthest away sink, because there's a two sink. I can turn the camera and see. This sink broke. Dramatic. Right? Broke. Not good, obviously. And so, this is still wet. I just washed it before recording. I can't put it. Right? Broke. Literally broke to the point that I had to, for months, put a big glass container in there because water could not go down the sink, otherwise it would flood into the house. Kind of broke, right? I had to use a bigger version of this in the sink, wash over it, wait for the water to fill here, stop the sink, turn and walk out the back door, dump it, and then come back here again. Obviously, if you've never had to do that, it's horrible. And if you have, I'm sorry. But for months, me and my sister had to do this. But God provided. And now, though the sink side broke again, we can still now use the sink. And now the other side, the opposite side closest to you guys, works. Because God in His graciousness is letting things work. Because He's taking care of us, providing for us. And He cares about the things that make our life easier because He loves and cares about us. Right? So, that's just an example of how things are going in our life, aside from money troubles and blah, blah, blah. One of the other things is that our fridge, not that one, but a different one, broke. And 2 weeks ago, I talked about this in a different video, a church reached out to us when my sister joined recently. They said, hey, we've been trying to get rid of this fridge. Where do you want to provide for you? And thus starts the story that Kitra here wants to tell you. Too loud for me to talk while I'm doing this. You have to put the rice on first because the rice is going to take longer, especially if you're cooking salmon in the oven. So that's what I'm doing now. Right? And so we're like, this is amazing. We can finally get a fridge, even though we don't have a way to get food right now. Because that means even if God doesn't provide, whenever He does provide, because we just have this feeling in our heart that God's going to take care of us. You just know. If, like, all three of the people in the house feel God telling them God's going to take care of you, God's going to take care of you, and He hasn't failed us yet, you know? This is going to happen. And so, long story short, because in the other videos I talked about this a little bit more, in one day, God provided 3 miracles. Sorry. He provided for, a doctor to come visit my dad because my dad's not able to get out of bed. So that way there's a chance we can get disability because we haven't been on that for months. And for those of you who are not American, disability, or people who may not even know, gives money to people who cannot work. My dad cannot work. My sister, it also gives money to caretakers, and my sister is his caretaker. She stays up with him at night whenever he can't sleep, and she helps him move his legs and stuff like that. And then in the morning, we switch, and I help in the morning if he can't sleep. So she can't. This is broken. That's life. Right? Another thing that works. Even if it's not the way that we want it, it's the way that it's so useful. So, all this said and done, right? In that day, we also found money so that we can actually, like, in the house, my dad saved up coins for years. Thank you. Coins for years to, just because he's a coin collector, and then we suddenly had 100 plus money out of all these coins. I'm like, okay, thank God we can actually get meat. Literally, like, we're running so low on food. My sister and I sometimes, like, didn't eat the food because we didn't want to tell Dad. I did, because I knew I needed to, but my sister sometimes wouldn't, and then that was an issue where I had to be like, bro, you're gonna eat this, and she's like, no, and I'm like, different thing, right? So, and we got a fridge. 3 miracles, one day, right? And, you're like, okay, so this is the part where the temptation came. No, actually. The next, like, 2 days later, the church themselves, like, came and brought the fridge over. Blessing in and of itself. They came with a group of people to move the fridge in here. Blessing in and of themselves. We didn't have to go get the fridge because the car we have is a smart car that God provided for us because our mom bought it for us. Like, your mom didn't use it anymore. She sent it to us and we don't have to pay for it until the end of the year, right? Blessing from God to have a car that we only have to pay gas for. Huge blessing because we have a friend of ours who actually knows how to fix cars. And so, again, God provided. Right? And so this huge, like, this fridge comes in, this group of men are coming in helping us. Like, they got the water valve done in one pull what I couldn't do with a wrench for like 20 minutes. Like, kind of blessing. It was very, very cool, right? And so the fridge is in there, we're so happy. And then the other fridge, the one that's broken, we just moved to the other wall. And the pastor who himself came to help us, he's like, hey, we can put this into your garage. No problem. And my sister's like, no, you guys came here like 11 at night because that was when they had free time. Please, you don't have to worry about it. We can move it ourselves. We're strong. We can do it. Don't worry about it. Because she's trying to be polite. And I piped up and I'm like, yeah, well, if you put it in the garage anyway, it'll just cost more money. And everyone looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, because I talked to my dad earlier that day and he's like, you're gonna, whenever you plug in a cold thing in a hot area, it's gonna have to generate more power. And therefore, it's gonna be more expensive to upkeep. So we don't want to plug in the fridge unless we absolutely need it. And so I was like, okay. And then I was basically trying to say that, and then everyone looked at me like I was stupid. And I was like, they didn't. They were just looking at me confused. It was one of those things where my kid was like, like very insecure. And my sister looked at me and she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, nothing. Don't worry about it. And I walked away. Not my best moment. Oh well. But everyone's really nice. They're like, it's really great to meet you. Great to see you again. We're so happy. Blah, blah, blah. And they left and they were very kind. And I was stewing. I was like, I can't believe my sister embarrassed me like that. I can't believe that she, in front of all these people, she knows that I can't leave the house that much right now because I can't drive. And she just knows that I can't do this. And she was trying to embarrass me. And I cannot believe this. In front of, like, a different friend that was staying over a little late. And that friend, like, she had to leave and stuff like that. And I was so mad. I'm like, I can't believe I'm getting mad right now. Blah, blah, blah. And my sister came home from dropping off our friend. And started playing this game, blah, blah, blah. My sister's like, are you mad at me? And I was like, yes, I'm very mad at you. But thankfully in this time of 30 minutes where it took the time for my sister to drive, God spoke to my heart and he's like, do you not remember this teaching that your dad showed you that the enemy comes in like this? Is your sister one to humiliate you? No, she's not. And so my sister's like, are you mad at me? Because the emotions were still there. Like, the feeling, the flesh was just like, yeah, you have to react. And I was trying so hard not to, but I was isolating myself instead of just letting it go because I was having a really hard time with my flesh. Not good. Learning. They need to learn and grow in, but nonetheless important to the story. She's like, are you mad at me? I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I feel like you humiliated me, and I know that's not who you are. I just feel like this. And she's like, what are you talking about? When did I do that? And I was like, whenever you said, what is that? And I knew you didn't mean it. And she's like, you don't mean to humiliate you. That's not your character. I just felt like kind of really bad about it, like that you meant to, and I know you didn't. She's like, I would not ever mean to, like, she's like, you know I won, and I'm sorry that I did that. I'm like, no, it's okay. It was okay. Because I knew she didn't mean to, because that's not who my sister is. But the enemy, in front of all these people, slapped me in the back of the head and said, see, she's trying to humiliate you. She's trying to do this. Granted, could be my flesh. Could be insecurity, right? But this great miracle happened. A literal new fridge. Like, The next day, God also provided another miracle where we were able to actually pay for food and fill the fridge double full, right? Literally, God gave to us in abundance. And I could have ruined all of that in the night before we got our food, our fridge, by saying, I can't believe you humiliated me. I can't believe you did this. And ruined a miracle for my sister, for my family. So every time I opened that fridge, I went, I can't believe I treated my sister that way. I can't believe I let myself feel that way. It's amazing how the enemy will come in and try to ruin a miracle, ruin a gift, ruin an abundance, which sounds a little Christianese perhaps, but I feel like it's important to know and prepare, and to know in your heart that this can happen, and to stand strong in the Word of God, and to know the people around you. Because realistically, people are going to attack you unless they mean to, at least not the people in my life, because I'm around very loving, compassionate people, thankfully. A week later, God provided another miracle. We were randomly given by our church some money that was really helpful. Like, we're going to pay off the electricity, kind of helpful, right? And my sister told me, I'm like, that's great, that's wonderful. I didn't react, blah, blah, blah. All right, I was like, that's really nice, it's really cool. I was really confused. And then we were eating food, and that same friend that was earlier was over, and my sister, I was like, I had a second helping of food, and then she's like, oh, I just didn't eat anything yet. I just wanted to make sure before a different friend could have came if she ate food. Like, a different friend, we'll call her Emily for convenience sake, was like, oh yeah, Emily's gonna come over, but I didn't want to make sure she had food if she did come over after I already had my second helping. And this happened in front of our friend who was already there, and I was so mad. I literally felt my heart, like, why am I so mad at her? Like, this is so stupid. I can't believe she doesn't take care of herself. She does all these things, and she doesn't take care of herself. And if she doesn't take care of herself, then I have to do this, blah, blah, blah. I was so legitimately mad. It wasn't that I'd have to do things if she didn't take care of herself. I was just so mad that she wasn't taking care of herself. And even in my head and in my heart, I'm like, what the heck? Why are you so mad about something like that? She didn't mean to. She was being loving and compassionate. What's your deal? And I was like, I don't understand. I literally don't. Right? Because, well, yeah, my sister, she's very self-sacrificing, very loving. And so whenever I can't reciprocate that, it makes me feel very upset, because I'm like, I love you. You get to give so much. Let me give you something. And she doesn't let me. And it makes me very upset. Not like as much as I used to. Or even that, like, it's just hard to explain, where I love someone so much and I want to do these things, but it feels like I'm being stopped. And those are the worst, most frustrating things, because I had a friend like that. I'm like, just let me love you. That's neither here nor there at the current second. But I was like, God, I don't understand why I'm so mad, like praying. And God's like, reminded me, a miracle just happened. I'm getting slapped in the back of the head by temptation to be upset for no reason. And so how quickly it would have been if this friend who was over for both times realized I got angry after we were getting such great things, for her to be like, you're ungrateful, or God doesn't give, but her blah, blah, blah. How bad it would be. Or to ruin a gift, yet again, given by church and by God to take care of my family, from being like, I can't believe this, so mad at my sister. The enemy moves in very solidified, interesting ways. And sometimes it is my flesh, maybe it was just me being an arrogant lover, or me being angry about this. It was so sudden and so suspicious after a certain point. It's like, this doesn't match up. And so, I feel like it's really important, because you're like, okay, Ketra, I understand. Point A to point B, point C, right? Something great happens, temptation can come, what am I supposed to do? Be aware. The enemy is on the prowl all the time. We're meant to be prepared. Be aware. Have the armor of God on. Yes, emotions will come. They'll be high-strung, especially after a lot of bad times. And in general, a really good time, your emotions will also be high-strung, because you're in the opposite effect. Everything's so great, and so when something smacks you in the back of the head, you're crashing hard. But it's your choice on who you stand for and who you live for. Do you live for God, or do you live for yourself? Do you stand with God, or do you stand with the enemy? Do you live for the Spirit and for the love of others, or do you live to gratify the fleshly desires? And so I feel like this is just an important lesson Ketra here has been learning, and I wanted to pass it on to you, because why not? I hope you have a wonderful day. If you have anything to say, comment below. If not, don't say anything. Anyway, goodbye, and whatever. I don't know how to exit this.